Welcome back to my channel, everybody. So today we are going to make a hat. Now we're going to do this in 3 parts. So part 1 will be making the granny squares of the hat. So grab your hooks, grab your yarn, and grab your pattern off of yarnspirations.com and let's get started. Okay everybody, so let's get started making part 1 of our granny bucket hat. So some of the materials you'll need is yarn, and you're going to need it in the Red Heart Super Saver, the Ogo Tangle Free, and you're going to need it in navy and the rainbow. I'm just using the white so you can see it better. Okay. Your crochet hook, size 4mm, scissors, a yarn needle, and of course your pattern so you can follow along with me. And then we're going to break it down into parts. So part 1 will be the motifs, which is the granny squares in the center of the hat. So let's get started. Now let's take a look at the first steps we're going to follow to start making your first granny square motif. So if you look at your pattern and you look off to the side, I have mine highlighted just so it helps me follow along a little bit better. So you're going to follow along under motifs, and it's going to be motif number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you're going to make 6 to all in total. We'll do the first one together, so don't worry. And if you look over, it says E as color 1, C as color 2, and A as color 3. So then if you follow along over here, you'll see on your rainbow yarn here that it goes A, B, C, D, and E. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this guide to help you with your motifs. Now, let's take a look at the yarn and how to open it up. So this is what it'll look like when you first buy it at the store. I got mine at Walmart. You can buy yours wherever they sell it. So if you look on the inside right here, you're going to see these little tabs right here. What you want to do is just kind of stick your hand inside and push them to the front, so that'll release the flap, and then you can just pull like this, and then it'll look like a donut once you've gotten it off. And then if you pull it apart, you should see a plastic tab. What you want to do is you want to cut this without cutting your yarn. That'll help you get your motifs started, and you'll be able to find your end a lot faster. So once you've got this cut and you got all your materials, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started making our motif. The first one on your list, which is motif number 1. Now what I did and what the pattern asks you to do, it asks you to separate your colors like I have here. You're going to take one of each ball, one of each color, and then separate them out. So that way it's easier for you to make your motifs. But I'm going to move these out of the way. So now it says here that motif number 1 is 3 colors. So E, C, and A. So I'm going to need blue, yellow, and red. Starting with color blue, like I have here. I'm just going to pull a little bit so I have enough. Okay. And here what it says to do, and actually the beginning is right here. So the beginning is right here. So it says with color 1, you're going to chain 4. So we're going to do a slip knot, just like we've done in our past videos. Just like this. Okay. And then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. And then you're going to join with a slip stitch to the first chain in your round. Get that out of the way. So you're going to join with a slip stitch, the first chain, so which is the one way back here. Insert your hook. You're going to pull up a loop and then keep going with that loop through the other one on your hook. And you've made a little ring. Ta-da! So now what we're going to do is, starting in round 1, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do two double crochets inside the ring. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to try to stick our hook in the middle of that ring, which is right here. Okay, I'll show you that one more time. So yarn over and stick your hook right here. Do your best. If you have to pull it a little bit to see the hole, then do that. And then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to do one more like that. Yarn over, insert your hook into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Just like that. And your hole will get easier to see as you do your first round. So now what it says to do is you're going to chain 2. Chain 2, so 1, 2. And you're going to do 3 double crochets in the hole as well, again. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do it 2 more times. Oops. So pull up a loop, 2 and 2. One more. Okay. Just like that. And you have 2 sections. This is one of your corners. This chain 2 space is one of your corners. So what you're going to do is you're going to do that 2 more times, and I will meet back with you when you've completed almost completed your first round. Okay, I'm getting ready to finish off my first round. So what I'm going to do now is once you've completed your last set of 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 2, just like that, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 that we started with. So your first one's right here, so 1, 2, and then 3 right here. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to fasten off, so chain 1, fasten off, and then you're going to trim your yarn and move your blue out of the way. And now you're going to work with your second color, which is going to be yellow. Don't forget to pull your loop all the way through, and you should see something starting to take shape. And the second color that we're working with today is yellow. So you're going to make a slip knot again. Place it on your hook, and you're going to find any chain 2 space. So any corner you want to start in. I'm going to start in this one right here. And then you're going to slip stitch into that chain, and then chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And what you're going to do is you're going to do what we did before. Is you're going to put 2 double crochets into that space. So pull up 2 double crochets in this space. Okay, and then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to put 3 double crochets back into that same corner space right here that you've been working in. Okay, because this is going to be one of our corners. And this is how our motif is going to get to the size we need it to put it on our hat. So there you go, one corner. Now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 and move our tails out of the way. We can sew those in at the end. And then you're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets all in this corner right here. So 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3 more double crochets in that same corner. 3. Okay, then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do the same thing in this corner and in this corner. I'll do this corner with you, and then I'll turn you loose so you can finish it off on your own. So 3 double crochets, so that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, try not to split your yarn, and chain 2, 1, 2, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. There you go. Now you can do the last corner yourself, and I'll meet up with you when you're getting ready to join your round. Okay, I'm ready to join my round. How about you? So we're going to chain one. Oopsie. Try not to do that. It's annoying when it happens. Chain one, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, just like previous. So it's right here. Right here. And you slip stitch. There you go. And fasten off. Cut your yarn. Move your color out of the way. Pull your loop all the way through. And there we go. Round 2 is complete. Nice little square. Look at that. All right, let's do color 3, which is red. And we're going to do it the same way we did with the previous round. So slip stitch or slip knot. Okay, and then we're going to put it in any chain 2 space right here. I usually start in the corner that I just finished in. So slip stitch, then chain 3, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets, because your chain 3 counts as a double crochet in this case. 1 and 2, and then chain 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Whoops. Try not to catch your tails there. Again, we'll sew them in at the end. And 3. There's one corner ready to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 double crochets in this chain 1 space right here. So 1. That's 2. That's 3, like that. Chain 1. And then, so then in here it's going to be 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the corners. So 3 double crochets. 1. It's 2. 3. Chain 2. 2. Chain 3 or 3 double crochets again in the same corner. Okay, and now what we're going to do is chain 1 and then 3 double crochets in this chain 1 space right here. It's so we can make it to the next corner. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe for future content. Hope to be doing more fun things like this in the future. Okay, chain 2, 3 double crochets to make our corner. And we're almost done this first motif. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space. So I'm going to let you do the last 2 sides on your own, and I'll meet up with you when you're ready to join. Okay, I'm getting ready to finish off my square here. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to join again to the top of that chain 3, which is right here, with a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1 so I can fasten off and cut my yarn. Pull up my loop all the way through, push my yarn out of the way, and there we go, just like that. And you have your first granny square for your bucket hat. Now what you want to do, so you don't have to do this with all your motifs at the end, is sew in your ends. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn, feed it on your needle, and you're just going to put it under through some of the stitches so it doesn't get seen, and it makes your hat nice and neat and tidy. And then trim your ends, throw those off to the side, and you want to do this all of your little tails so they're not in your way. because if they're in your way, then it just causes you problems and things get unraveled. Then you have to start over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weave in all my tails, and I will meet up with you when that's finished. Okay, so we've weaved on all my tails, and this is what it should look like. Shouldn't have anything sticking out at all. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your pattern, and you're going to want to make all 6 of the motifs. So what I like to do is highlight the important word so I know where I am. So what you're going to do is, because we did motif number 1 together, you guys can go back and do the rest of the motifs, and I will meet up with you when you have all 6 motifs. Okay, so to finish all 6 motifs, so let's get started sewing them together for our hat. So we're going to do, in the order, we're going to do 1, 2, here I'll back up so you can see, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew their sides together. So we're going to sew them like this. We're going to sew their sides together, and then once we got all 6 sewn together, we can form a ring. So that way we can finish off the top and the bottom of our hat. So I will show you with first two, and then you can continue on with the rest. Let's get going. Okay, so here's how we're going to sew our motifs together. You got your needle. What I did was I just grabbed a little piece of red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my motifs and I'm going to put them together. I'm going to put the right sides together so we can make sure it looks good on the outside. So what I'm going to do is, this is the right side. Okay, and then if you flip it over, you can see on the back side that it's different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to put the right sides together, lining up the corners like this. Then I'm going to grab my yarn, feed it through onto my needle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it through the stitches. So I'm just going to put my finger in between the motifs so I can make sure I'm grabbing the stitches. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you're grabbing the corresponding stitches on either side. So I'm just going to pull it through. Just like this. And then what you can do to secure it is just tie it in a little knot. So that way it doesn't go anywhere. And you can either weave this in later or you can sew over it. I'll just weave it in later because it'll make it neater in the end. And then you're just going to go through again in the next stitch, pulling your yarn through, and you're going to do that all the way down the side, just like this. Nice and slow. Take your time. There is no rush. It's supposed to be relaxing and exciting as you're making yourself a hat to wear over the summer. And you're just going to do that, looping it over, putting your needle in your stitch, and just pulling. And now when you pull, you don't want to pull it too tight. Tight enough that your stitches won't come loose, and loose enough that you're not going to break your yarn. So you pull your yarn too much, it might break, and that is very annoying when that happens. Just like this, all the way down to the end. You're not going to turn the corner because you're just sewing the sides together. Just like this, and you're going to finish up in the corner. So we got one more to go. There we go. Now what you want to do is, before you pull the last one all the way through. Leave a bit of a loop. Take your needle, put it through, and just pull it like that so you have a bit of a knot. And then what you can do, snip your yarn, just like that. Put your tail off to the side and sew in your ends. But if you open it up, and you have two motifs sewn together. So let's go ahead and do the next one together, and then I'll turn you loose so you can finish off the rest. Like I said, you want to try and cut a corresponding color, and then grab number 3, which is this one, and you want to do the same thing we did with the first two. So place one over the other, and you're going to grab your needle and feed it through without splitting your yarn would be great. What I like to do, if you want to make your end pointy on your yarn, is I put it in between my fingers and I just kind of go back and forth, and it makes it pointy enough to put through your yarn needle. And what you're going to do is, again, you're just going to find your corner and go through one set of stitches. You're going to pull to your tail comes down, and then you're going to just make a little knot so it doesn't pull out the other side. And you can always weave the tail in at the end because you're using yellow or blue, whichever color is your choice. And you're just going to sew all the way down just like we did with the last two motifs. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way down, and then you're going to do the same thing with the remaining motifs in order that you made them. So 1 through 6. And then you're going to make a ring at the end. But we'll get to that point together. So just sew this all the way down to the end. And once you've sewn all 6 motifs together, we will join our ring together. Okay, so this is what it should look like when you have all of your 6 motifs sewn together. So what we're going to do is we are going to sew the last 2 ends together. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fold this in half like a sandwich. Just like that, so you can see them, the wrong sides together. Then what you're going to do is thread your needle and do what we've been doing before, except we are going to sew them into a ring so we can make the rest of our hat. So just like we've been doing before. So you're going to tie your end in a little knot, just like that, and then go all the way down like we've been doing previous. Just like this. Okay, and just make sure you're getting as corresponding stitches on either side. You don't want to try and skip too many, because if you do, then your hat might not look right. But this is all about practice. So just going to go all the way down. Again, not pulling too tight, because if you pull too tight, then you could pull your yarn, break it, or better yet, break your yarn on your motif, and then you have to start all over and make another one. So just take your time, there's no rush. I usually like to do this when I'm watching TV, put my feet up. So again, make a little knot, and then cut your yarn once you're finished. There we go, just like that. And now what you want to do is you want to sew both of your ends in, so that way they're not sticking out. I've already sewn all the other ends in, so let's do these ones together. And what you're going to do is you're just going to weave it in again through the back side, through the stitches, because if you're going to sew them on the wrong side, you're not going to see them, because they're going to be on the inside of your hat, not the outside. So just like this, pull it through and trim off your extra. And do the same thing with the other one. Just want to do it gently. Don't have to go over too many, just enough so your extra won't come loose. Or there we go. And there we have it. We have part 1 of our hat. So there we go. Part 1 is complete. And that's it for today, everybody. That's it for part 1. So stay tuned for part 2. Don't forget to subscribe down below.